Has anybody seen It Comes at Night? Now, I remember when this came out, and there were a lot of people on the interwebs who were talking mad trash about it, that they did not like it. And I watched it, and I could see where they had some kind of false impression about what the movie was supposed to be about. For anybody who is uninitiated, It Comes at Night. It's a 2017 kind of thriller. Maybe that was the problem. It was kind of light on the thrills generally, but it was about a family that is stuck in a house because there's some kind of apocalyptic plague that's going on around the world. So they are in the woods and they have this house and they have resources and they're just stuck here and have to protect themselves in the midst of this world. There is a father, mother, son. And one day it comes to pass that they stumble upon a young man. And the young man tells them a story. The young man says that he has a family that's waiting on him that he has to provide for. And so that's what he's trying to do, is just find somewhere that he can find food so he can take it back to their family. Now, that's the setup. The setup is there's this kind of apocalyptic ailment that's going around, and these people are hiding out in the forest, and they have to be worried now about what people are and what they're going to do. So if you haven't seen it and want to see it, go do that. Have a watch. I would recommend it just in general. It has a really unique tone and these psychological thematics that I'm not sure how clear they are, but they mean something. They're something unique. And Joel Edgerton is the lead actor in this, and I think he does a fantastic job. But interesting movie. So anyway, moving on to spoiler territory. So you've got this setup. This family is worried about this other family. They're just worried about people in general, but they have to be really harsh about this kind of thing because if somebody gets sick, they can die, and we see this happen in the movie. People will catch this thing, they start having these visions, these horrible dreams, and eventually they just choke on their own blood and they're dead, and that's that. So they have to be really careful about who they interact with. But in this particular case, you have Joel Edgerton, and he runs into this young man who says he has a family. He's not sure if he's telling the truth. But he has a gun, Joel Edgerton does, and he says, okay, so I'm going to try to believe you. We're going to go look for your family, and because we have food, and we're going to see what the deal is. So on the way, though, they run into some resistance. They get shot at, and he crashes the truck. And Joel Edgerton, again, he does really well in this moment because he's got to be in this action scene. He's not like Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's not just like crashing through and taking people out, one at a time. But he shows his fear really well and acts the scene really, really well. And it's shot well too because you have the other character who's in the back of the truck who you don't know if you can trust, and you're not sure what he's gonna do, whether he set this whole thing up with these guys or what. But he jumps out of the back of the truck and beats the hell out of this guy, and then Joel Edgerton shoots the guy who's on the ground who just got beaten. And the other guy says, no, you shouldn't have done that. We could have asked him questions and tried to figure things out and all that. So you have this dynamic now. You're not sure if you could trust this guy, but Joel Edgerton's going to give him a chance. And they go, and he does have a family, and they bring the family back, and it's just a woman and a young child. A young boy, he's like, 6 or 7 or something like that? Maybe older. I can never tell with stupid children how old they are. But anyway, so he's old enough to understand things, but he's not old enough to be especially useful. So now you have this family that's moved in with them, and they're trying to help him, and they have resources and food, and they all help out around the house. And the son, who's older, he's like 18 or 19 or something like that, the son of the original family, he takes a liking to the girl who shows up, which makes sense. It's the only one who's not his mother. She's also pretty cute, so there you go. But they have a few scenes where there's this just undercurrent where he has this interest in her, but he's not sure how to deal with it. And the guy he was one of the actors in Girls, one of the primary ones in earlier seasons. I do not like that show, but I remember this actor. And he does a great job too. The acting is very good all the way around. So anyway, you've got this, but then at a certain point, the youngest kid, that, the one that was part of the new family, because they have a great situation for a while. They're working very well together and they're enjoying each other's company. Their son, the older son, is really adamant that he wants them to stick around. He wants to share a lot with them and really open things up and enjoy the time they have together. They actually have friends and people that they can interact with. And Joel Edgerton's character and the mother character are concerned and hesitant about being able to do that. But eventually, it comes to a head where the young boy is out in the middle of the night. He is just out. The doors open, to the outside, and he has, we don't know if he's gone out and come back or what's been going on, but he is laying down under a bench or something like that inside the house. And so the older son goes and sees him, and he's like, "Hey, you okay?" And he kind of picks him up and takes him back to bed with his parents, and then goes to bed. Later he tells his father, what happened and everything. But then the boy starts exhibiting symptoms, the youngest boy of the other family. He starts exhibiting these symptoms and coughing and all this kind of thing. So the two parents, understandably, they're trying to hide this and just say everything's fine, don't worry about it, because they're worried about what might happen. And then Joel Edgerton and his wife are saying, no, we have to get rid of them. We have to either kill them right now, or we get rid of them, and tell them to get out, and come to the determination they really actually do have to kill them, because they have to be worried about them going out and trying to come back for resources. If they are sick, you have to worry about that anyway, but if they come back for resources, they're going to be in danger even if they're not sick. So we actually do have to consider just putting them down if the kid is sick. But then they go to talk to them with guns, drawn. And the other guy has a gun, so when he opens the door, he points it at Joel Edgerton, and he says, "Okay, you're just gonna give us resources. We're gonna leave. We're never gonna see you again. Just leave us be, and that'll be that." And there's this standoff, and it goes back and forth. The mother eventually, she pops out of nowhere and points it at the guy, so they get the one up on him, and eventually start marching this family. This young family. It's a young guy, young girl, and their son. They march them out into the woods, not really sure what to do, and the mother is, hysterical. She just doesn't know what's going to happen, and she's worried about her child and, what's going on. The young father tries to wrestle the gun away and tries to fight. He ends up getting shot, and then Joel Edgerton, he takes aim at the mother because he just can't let any of this go, and shoots at her but hits the kid and has to put her down too now because we don't know what's going to happen, who's sick, who's not sick, or what's going on. So that whole family is now dead at the hands of, the original family. And then they find out that their son is sick. And so he's caught it and is going through the whole situation. And then he has to be killed too. So the end of the movie is just them sitting at a table, the mother, father from the original family, just sitting at a table thinking, what the hell are we doing? What is the point of all this? So that's the movie. And, I can understand why people, a lot of people who would see this would think that it was a monster movie, basic monster movie. And that's what they're worried about, is some monster going to be coming out of the woods. So if they don't get that when it's more cerebral and psychological, then they're not going to like the movie. I understand that. But knowing what the movie actually is, then you can see, okay, psychologically, what is it trying to say? And this, I'm not sure. I know it's about paranoia and what paranoia means and how it can affect people and the way they respond to other people. But what is it trying to say? At the end of the day, he was really paranoid about letting these people join the family or come into the house. He was really paranoid about this. And you would think that a movie like this would come to the determination that he shouldn't have been. He needs to open up and make friends. But by the end of the movie, it seems that the little kid went out, caught this thing, and brought it back to the house and got their son killed and everybody else killed. So in that way, it seems to justify his paranoia about the world, the outside world. So is that what the movie is trying to say? That it's totally fine to be paranoid? You should be. You should actually be more paranoid about other people because they might bring in some kind of a pathogen that's going to murder your whole family. And you're going to have to do horribly distasteful things to innocent people if you let them in. I'm not sure if that's what the movie is trying to say. I mean, that could have just some nihilistic interpretation of human prospects or human inclinations, in that it's just, at the end of the day, it's just you're screwed anyway. If you try to branch out and befriend people, then they're going to turn on you, and when the chips are down, they're going to turn on you, and your family's going to get hurt, and that's just the way it is. Now, it's called It Comes at Night. It Comes at Night. So most of the time during the movie, they were outside doing things like chopping wood and that kind of thing and hunting during the day. And at night, they would be sleeping. And at night is when the little kid, I think he sleepwalked, actually. He went outside and then came back. And it caused, the whole thing to go under. But early in the movie, he gets in that shootout with those guys during the daytime. So I'm not sure what the title of the movie is actually trying to say. So, at the end of the movie, I think you're supposed to be appalled at the fact that Joel Edgerton murders a child and murders the mother of the child who weren't really a threat. But what are you really supposed to do with that information? Because there could be moral calculus. He murders those people and then they lose their son. And maybe that's his punishment for being so paranoid that he would murder somebody who's not a threat. But, I mean, in reality, he was a threat because the kid was sick and they don't know if the mother's sick. And the other guy was actually an active threat. You know, he had guns and was trying to do horrible things. So I'm not sure what it means. I would actually like anybody who has, I've only seen it once. I don't know. I read a little bit about it online, but it didn't seem like there were a whole lot of satisfactory direct answers. So people who have seen this and have thoughts about this movie, I'd like to know your thoughts and how you read it. But it does seem to be a cynical take on the way that humans interact. And there's something Darwinian in it, that it forces somebody to take really extreme measures to try to protect themselves. But in this case, it seemed like it was justified. So I'm not sure. Hey, this is Future Me, and I was actually thinking about this movie while I was editing this episode, and I think I have a better reading on what the hell was going on here. I'm taking it too literally. The point is that the illness is a metaphor for the kind of suspicion and fear we have of other people. So I think it's an important idea that they couch the illness, quote-unquote illness, in the little kid at the end. And what happens? They have Joel Edgerton and the wife. They're going up to the guy's door, the father's door, with guns, and they're saying, we need to see this kid. Show us the kid. We need to see how sick he is or whatever. In actuality, the illness itself presents as, you know, just a fussy kid and flu symptoms, that kind of thing. So what's the real threat from a kid in that context? Metaphorically, it's just about the fear that the people feel relative to this family, not the actual objective threat that they pose. And it was the family that's asking. They're saying, okay, just let us leave. We'll get out of here, and that'll be that. But they're like, no, we're so afraid of you and afraid of what can happen. We're going to have to murder you to be able to move on with our lives. And what is the thing? What is the thing that comes out at night? It comes at night. That's fear. People are more afraid at night. In the context of the family that's at the house, their fear was, I'm afraid of this child who's being fussy, and we are going to be willing to murder our fellow people on that basis. So I think that that's the idea, is that there's this metaphorical illness that goes around that just makes you afraid of everybody, of literally everybody, no matter what. And at the end, that is amplified to the extent of murdering a child and their mother, destroying an entire family, and in turn destroying your family, because your son, not just that he gets this fear illness that he catches from this little kid, but in the way that you acted, psychologically, the impact that it's going to have on this kid, on your son, your own son, because you exhibited such fear of other people, that it's like a ritual death anyway. It's something that he has to suffer because of the way that you acted, because of the way that you are with other people. And, even the little kid, what are his behavior is that he, goes outside, he's afraid of the dark, he comes inside, he hides under something, like he's in the midst of a night terror, and most of the presentation throughout the movie is about those kinds of night terrors, or at least nightmares, that they're experiencing. And so it was their son, the main couple's son, the older one, who was the one who was open to and wanted to engage with this other family and expand and, have some kind of an interaction with the rest of humanity. And it was the parents who were so against it and willing to exhibit this extreme fear of other people and humanity in general. So I think that's what it's getting at. I didn't read anything more. It was literally, I was just editing this episode and I was like, maybe that's more of what it's trying to say, because I was really reading it literally. What are the mechanics of what happened, and therefore, what is it trying to say morally about what you should do? Anyway, yeah, that's what I think. Again, I would love to know what anybody else thinks about it, and appreciate you for listening. And back to my outro, whatever. Anyway, overall enjoyed the movie. I don't know why it's so hated in general. It gets pretty middling reviews for a movie that's done actually really well. But I just think that was a genre issue, that it seems like it's a monster movie, but in reality it's a psychological thriller. So anyway, just wanted to bring up It Comes at Night, see what people thought about it, and otherwise hope all is well. See you on the next one. All right, bye. Oh, wait, no, hold on. I'm doing book recommendations. That's right. So, this one, my book recommendation will be The Rape of Nanking by Iris Chang. So, if you ever want to read a book that will readjust your ideas about what humans are, what they are capable of, the kind of horrors that they are capable of, then read The Rape of Nanking by Iris Chang, and it will put all sorts of things into perspective. I hope all is well. I'll see you on the next one. All right, bye.